Hello and welcome to Bread of Life, a daily devotional program which each week features a different area pastor. Our speaker for this week is Pastor Christian Cuthbert of Rockville.
Well, I don't know about you, but I love to hike. For me, no hike is complete unless I stand atop some hill or mountain. I know other people that love walking, but avoid mountains. Over our 7 days together, I would like to do something creative. I would like to tell the gospel story by tracing some of the mountains described in Scripture. Mountains were the stage upon which God enacted some of the most dramatic moments in his history of redemption. Now, whether or not you enjoy physically hiking up mountains, this week we are going to ascend 7 mountains in Scripture. And the first mountain we'll discuss might be unfamiliar to some of you. The Mountain of Eden. Eden is described for us in Genesis chapter 2. In this garden, God created Adam and Eve. He commissioned them to be fruitful and multiply, to rule and subdue creation. It was here that God instituted divine order, making a woman as a suitable helper for the man, and making the first rule, not to eat of the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. If you read through Genesis 2, one will notice that there is no direct description of Eden as a mountain. But in Ezekiel 28, Eden is described as the, quote, holy mount of God. Now this fits well with the description Genesis gives us of Eden as the source of the 4 headwaters, waters that by definition flowed down from atop a mountain. And on top of this first mountain, God acted to redeem his people. Most of us know this story. After God commissioned Adam and Eve, they were tempted by the serpent and sinned, eating of the fruit of the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. When they sinned, they disconnected mankind from the God who gave them life. Immediately afterwards, God confronted Adam and Eve and made his first monumental move to redeem his people. God said in his confrontation with the serpent in Genesis 3:15, "And I will put enmity between you and the woman, and between your offspring and hers. He will crush your head, and you will strike his heel." Now, this is a somewhat cryptic verse. And enmity just means making an enemy between, right? But this verse is the foundation for the entire gospel. And it takes the rest of the 66 books of Scripture to explain everything meant by it. Its most basic meaning is that while the serpent will strike the heel of mankind, a man will crush the serpent's head. Now, when you look at this verse exegetically, you notice that this pronoun does not refer back to a specific person in Genesis 3. It actually refers to someone in the future, when Christ will come as a man to undo the damage that Adam had done. This is the gospel. We were created good. We were created with purpose. We were created to be in a relationship with God. Then, mankind through Adam disconnected us from this purpose and relationship. It even disconnected us from life itself. But, as we see here in Genesis 3:15, God has acted in history to undo this damage and reconnect us with this purpose and relationship and give us new life. At Christmas time, our church sings the song, "Go Tell It on the Mountain." That begs the question, what do we tell on this mountain? That Jesus Christ, the man prophesied in Genesis 3:15, has come. Now, interestingly, the first time the gospel was proclaimed, it was proclaimed here in Eden, the holy mount of God. Thank you for joining us. And I look forward to continuing our devotional hike through the mountaintops of Scripture. Tomorrow we will hike Mount Moriah. Thank you.
You've been listening to Christian Cuthbert of Rockville, and this has been Bread of Life, a program to encourage you from God's Word.